Have you ever wondered what could frighten a Viking more than charging into battle? These were people who sailed into storms, fought with axes, and faced death without blinking. They believed that dying bravely in combat could earn them a place in Valhalla. But when the sun disappeared, even the bravest Viking thought twice before stepping into the darkness. Why? What could possibly be hiding in the night that warriors feared more than enemy armies? The answer isn't what most people expect. It wasn't just wolves. It wasn't just the freezing cold. It was something much older, something they believed was always watching. Tonight, we're stepping into the darkest side of Viking life. And trust me, you wouldn't want to be outside after sunset. When most people imagine Vikings, they picture fearless warriors, huge ships, steel axes, burning villages, epic battles. Movies make them look like they feared absolutely nothing. But real Vikings lived in a world that was completely different from ours. There were no streetlights, no flashlights, no phones. Once the sun disappeared, the world changed completely. Darkness wasn't just an inconvenience. It became another world. A world where strange sounds echoed through the forest, where every moving shadow looked alive, where even familiar paths became dangerous. For Vikings, night wasn't simply the end of the day. It was the beginning of uncertainty. And uncertainty was terrifying. Imagine standing outside your wooden house. The sun has just vanished behind the mountains. The only light comes from a small fire beside you. Beyond that tiny circle of light, everything is black. Not city darkness, not suburban darkness, real darkness, the kind where you can't even see your own hand. Every crack of a branch sounds like footsteps. Every gust of wind feels like someone whispering. Your imagination begins filling in the blanks. Today, we know these sounds have natural explanations. But over 1,000 years ago, people didn't. And when you don't understand something, you often create stories to explain it. That's exactly what the Vikings did. Their mythology was filled with creatures that became far more dangerous after sunset. One of the most terrifying was the Draugr. A Draugr wasn't simply a ghost. It was believed to be a dead warrior who climbed out of its grave. Unlike zombies from movies, Draugr were intelligent. They were incredibly strong. Some stories claimed they could grow larger than humans. Others said they could shape-shift into animals. Worst of all, they hated the living. If someone disturbed their burial mound, the Draugr might hunt them down. At night, every lonely hill could hide one. Every ancient grave became a place to avoid. Even brave warriors preferred taking longer routes than walking near old burial grounds after sunset. Then there were the trolls. Modern cartoons make trolls look funny. Viking trolls were anything but. These creatures lived deep inside mountains and forests. Many stories warned children never to wander into the woods after dark. A troll might capture them, or worse, they might never return at all. Were trolls real? Almost certainly not. But the forests were real, and forests at night can be incredibly dangerous. A simple fall, a hidden cliff, a wild animal. People disappeared without knowing what happened. The easiest explanation became monsters. The forests of Scandinavia were enormous. Dense pine trees blocked much of the moonlight. Even during the day, some places felt mysterious. At night, they became almost impossible to navigate. A Viking traveling alone risked becoming hopelessly lost. Without roads or maps, a wrong turn could be deadly. The cold made everything worse. Scandinavian winters weren't just uncomfortable. They could kill. Temperatures dropped quickly after sunset. A traveler caught outside without shelter might never see morning. So when legends warned people not to wander at night, those stories actually kept people alive. Fear became survival. The Vikings also believed that supernatural beings weren't limited to monsters. There were elves, spirits, hidden people, powerful beings that shared the world with humans. Many believed these beings became more active after dark. Some traditions warned against speaking loudly outside at night. Others advised avoiding certain hills or rivers after sunset. You never knew who or what might be listening. Respecting the unseen world wasn't considered superstition. It was simply common sense. At least, that's what people believed. Even their gods reminded them that darkness carried power. Odin himself constantly searched for hidden knowledge. He sacrificed an eye for wisdom. He hung from the world tree for 9 nights. Night often represented mystery, secrets, transformation, things beyond ordinary understanding. The Vikings respected courage, but they also respected forces larger than themselves. Charging into battle was honorable. Ignoring the unknown was foolish. There was a big difference. One animal made nighttime even more unsettling. The wolf. Scandinavia had real wolves. Large packs hunted through forests during winter. Hungry wolves could attack livestock, sometimes even people. Hearing distant howls while walking alone was enough to send chills down anyone's spine. Then mythology added another layer. The monstrous wolf Fenrir. According to Norse myths, Fenrir would eventually break free during Ragnarok. His power was so great that even the gods feared him. Imagine hearing wolves howling in total darkness, while believing one of the greatest monsters in existence also took the form of a wolf. Suddenly, every howl felt much more personal. Then came the weather. Storms arrived with little warning. Heavy rain soaked clothing. Strong winds extinguished fires. Snow erased footprints. Fog swallowed entire landscapes. At night, these conditions became deadly. A person could lose their direction within minutes. Without modern equipment, survival depended on experience and luck. Nature itself often became the greatest monster. One fascinating detail is how Viking homes reflected these fears. Families stayed together after sunset. Longhouses weren't just places to sleep. They became islands of safety. The fire burned in the center. People repaired tools, cooked food, told stories, sang songs. Children listened as elders passed down myths. Many of those frightening stories weren't only entertainment. They were lessons. Don't wander too far. Respect nature. Stay close to home. Listen to your family. Sometimes the scariest legends carried the most practical advice. Have you noticed something interesting? Almost every terrifying Viking belief had a real-world purpose. Monsters discouraged dangerous travel. Ghosts protected burial sites. Forest spirits kept children from getting lost. Night became associated with caution. The myths weren't just random fantasies. They acted like survival manuals disguised as stories. Without schools, without science, without written warning signs, stories became the safest way to teach people. But here's something even stranger. Despite fearing the night, the Vikings also admired it. The stars guided sailors across enormous distances. The northern lights filled the sky with incredible colors. Imagine seeing shimmering green lights dance across the heavens without knowing what caused them. Many believed they carried supernatural meaning. The same darkness that inspired fear also inspired wonder. Night wasn't simply evil. It was mysterious, beautiful, powerful, and completely beyond human control. Even today, many of those old fears still exist. Have you ever walked through a forest after dark, heard a strange noise, started imagining something following you? Your brain is doing exactly what Viking brains did over 1,000 years ago. Humans evolved to notice danger in darkness. It's a survival instinct. Our ancestors who stayed alert at night survived. Those instincts never disappeared. We just have better flashlights now. So, were Vikings actually cowards after sunset? Not at all. They faced incredible dangers every day. But they understood something important. Real courage isn't pretending nothing is frightening. Real courage is respecting danger and surviving it. Their greatest enemy wasn't always another warrior. Sometimes it was the darkness itself, a darkness filled with wolves, freezing temperatures, unknown sounds, ancient myths, and an imagination powerful enough to turn every shadow into something waiting to strike. Maybe that's why night frightened them more than battle. Because in battle, at least you could see your enemy. If you enjoyed exploring the hidden side of Viking history, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more fascinating stories from the ancient world. And tell us in the comments if you lived 1,000 years ago with nothing but firelight to protect you. Would you dare walk into a Viking forest alone at midnight?